purchase order, and then we're going to take a bill and apply it to the purchase order. That's the AP side, correct? Okay. So in our little project here that we just did, I'm going to take this same part and copy it and drop it down here and do paste like so. And then I'm going to purchase it with the F5 key. Click over there like so. Okay. And now I'm generating the purchase order, and I can hit select, dedicated PO. Yep. And we're not going to drop ship. That's fine. And then we're going to go ahead and, I guess we didn't put an address, so we don't have a full address there. Let me say create PO. Fine. So I just created purchase order 1000. Okay. And I exit this guy like so, and it puts the project in service waiting parts, because this is the service call waiting parts, which is fine. Okay. And then we can issue our purchase order to our vendor, and I'm not going to issue it actually, but I'm just going to go ahead. And you would check this checkbox and email it, but in fact, I'm just going to do preview. Okay. And there's our purchase order. Now, why didn't that come up with the crystal version? Let me look at that. PO crystal version. Okay, good. So our purchase order number is 1000, and the project number is 50,000, the service ticket. Okay? And we're going to change the date to be issued, yes. And then we're going to receive this in. So we're going to go to purchase order, receive PO, 1000, like so. And we're going to say process line by line. It's going to receive it. And it's going to allocate it to our service ticket. And it's going to notify Brian and me, for whatever reason, we designated you to receive a message on that sort of part. So now, if I log out, come back in, like so, there's my allocation message, just like that. And you guys will receive it by email. Okay?
Sure. So if the service tech was Ted, and the job was allocated to him, he would get notified that the part was in.
If we go ahead and it doesn't notify technicians. Okay. It notifies 3 people, and you could make him a PM, project manager, salesman, a notifyee, and a project manager. So you could theoretically, if you were to say heading section, you could make the notifyee Ted in that case. And then he would get a message saying it's in.
Well, we're going to do a scheduling anyway, so
I'm just trying to
learn
what we can do.
What you can do.
And how we can make it work so we can, so there's less phone calls. I'm receiving it in, you're getting notified right then and there, and you in your head, all of a sudden, 20 minutes later, the schedule opens up, Ted's near the shop, okay, I can get Ted back there. That's what I'm trying to make it so we get notified right away.
Well, we will, but I'm saying I don't think Ted needs to be notified.
No, I'm just...
Okay, Spitfiring, that's totally fine. The point is, the prompt was good, well raised. Who gets notified? The salesman gets notified by default, and I made you the salesperson. That's why, because I made you the salesperson, because I'm not in your system as a real salesperson.
Yep.
So I made you the notifyee as a salesperson, and myself got made the notifyee because I created the project.
Yeah.
Okay, and if you want a third notifyee, like if you wanted Peter to be notified like so, you could make him a notifyee as well.
I should be on there, because if I'm doing the scheduling, the pod comes in, then I know.
Well, for your jobs, you're going to be notified.
Right, well what I'm saying, even the service tickets.
Okay.
Because he handles all schedules.
So, should we make him the default project manager then?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Okay, so if we do that, then you're going to end up in this and you're going to be notified then. Okay, so... Now I'm going to pause the tape for a moment and make that change. Now what we're going to do is we got a nice shiny piece of paper from our vendor for the bill. Okay, so we're going to come over here to QuickBooks Accounts Payable Interface, and we're going to click on down here Create Voucher, like so. Now, just so you know, preliminarily, while you were gone yesterday, Michelle, I went down here to this section to Accounts Payable Accounts, and I put your Accounts Payable account as you have it in QuickBooks right now. Okay. And I also went to your GL one over here, and I put your cost of goods, because most of your stuff goes to cost of goods, correct?
No. See, that's the problem of the way this file is set up. Nothing has been going to cost of goods. It's just been going to an expense account, which I know is not right, but...
Well, there's cost of goods. Okay.
Okay.
Now, do you want a freight account in here, or just make it cost of goods? You won't even worry about it.
That's something we have not done. That's up to the guys to decide.
I mean,
if
so
they
we
want.
expense out freight separate.
If you want it broken out
We don't have to
separately,
track it
the answer is
separately.
Well, I think it will be
okay. It
brought
doesn't.
out,
It's
but not right now.
Yeah, right.
I think I would remove that right now because the cost of goods is not. It will screw things up.
well, it has to go somewhere. What account do you want it to go to?
What accounts to go to now, Michelle?
It goes to two different expense accounts. There's
Which
an
ones?
AV,
All right, so hold on a minute. Let me stop this tape,
There's
and
two different
as I want this to be a short
it
recording.
should
One
go to
second.
cost of goods. So
Pause.
maybe
Hold on a minute.
Well, when it gets
Okay. So we go to Task, Accounts Payable Interface, and we go to Create Voucher, and you notice we have a single purchase order option and a miscellaneous job cost option. Okay. So the single purchase order one is the one we're going to use first, and I'll demonstrate this one next. This guy here is looking for our PO number. Now we know the PO number because it's on the bill. Okay, so that was 1,000, like so. Okay, and then we have the invoice number that's on the bill as the vendor's invoice number. I'll just put 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. Okay, now normally you're going to use this option here, check total, because you have an amount, i.e. you have an amount and it's going to be, you know, $525 or something like that that's on the bill.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where you get that from. But since I don't know what that math is, I don't know what that, I think it was about $425 plus the freight charge. I'm not going to check that checkbox. I'm going to use no check versus check, okay? Because I don't know what this amount is. So I'm just going to leave that blank and go this way. But you would normally do this way and enter the amount of the invoice. Okay? I'm going to guess. I'm going to do it this way. Just I think it's going to be, let's just make it easy. We'll do it 550 like that. I think that's the right number, which is going to be some freight and then the physical materials itself. Now, we hit open purchase order like so. Oh, and we've got a tax problem here. Let me go to heading section, change the tax code to be 99. Good. Okay. And I was pretty close. Look at that. I did have memory, which served me well. So notice the item has been received. So it won't let you put in a bill until it comes in. So you might have a bill before the product actually hits the door. Okay? Or more probably it's going to happen is it hit the door but nobody received it.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's where the receiving function needs to be done because now she can enter the bill against the received product. Okay? Now, the keys for this are right here under Pay. And if I hit the Pay button right here, you see our options. I can pay a single item, which we happen to be doing in this case. I can pay a single item with prompt quantity. Now, the idea behind that one is if you had 100 items on the purchase order, 100 of one device, and only 50 came in, you might receive an invoice for only 50. You with me? And then that way you'd be wanted to prompt how much of the 100 I'm paying today. That's what that prompts for. And then this guy I like easy because this is just pay everything that's come in, and I can just choose that option like so. Click, and you notice it marks for pay, and it starts building your amount right there.
So, at this screen, if you went in and made, let's say the price was different, it increased and we didn't know it.
Right.
Can you?
Absolutely, right here. You hit this guy right here, and now you are changing the cost. And when the cost changes, it will update the job cost module, up or down. Okay? So if I were to make this, $525, like so, and I press enter, okay, the job cost has already been changed, i.e. $25 hit. Now the question is this a new price? I'm not sure she'll know the answer to that question. Is this a new permanent price? And if you think it's the new permanent price, then you'll say update yes. If you don't know, you just say no.
And then we want to know that if it was, like if it was a vendor we haven't used in a while, we need to.
Then you say yes.
Check.
Yeah, or check.
We need to check.
Yeah.
So, but that goes back and also changed in inventory.
Inventory, correct. This one updates inventory cost of 1. Okay? The same thing you guys are going to get the
like
prompt.
Control 4, okay? So you're ordering all those touch screens.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're getting a 20% discount.
$2,200.
So we'll be able to see that discount, that bottom line discount now, flow through to our cost
Right.
on the estimate.
Absolutely.
So when we print that report, we'll actually see
The deviation.
Yeah.
Estimated
we-
cost versus actual cost. Exactly right.
Yeah, so I ordered 24 touch pens. So say $300.
So leave them in the box. I'll take them and put them in my house so they're not here. Because we have no room.
This was a deal or a job?
The deal.
Cool.
Well, we got a job that has
We have a job that
3
needs-
jobs that
Are coming
touch
out.
screens, yeah.
They're
Are
coming.
coming up, and that they had a 20% off
Naked.
during the CEDIA.
Knock it.
So,
So, I'm going to say no or yes. I'll just say no because I'm just spitfiring here. Now, so we're done because we've got nothing more to do. That's it. So pay all. It's just that simple. And then you leave the screen, and it prompts you create pay voucher. Continue to create pay voucher. We say yes, and it brings us to this screen right here. And this is the screen where you can choose the GL accounts. So you're going to choose accounts payable. That you only got one account to choose, and you're going to choose either AV sales or electrical sales, like so. Okay. Now, incidentally, down here, because there's a question in your mind whether this is AV materials or electrical materials, right down here you see the project. You've got the service ticket number, who the customer was, and the problem, and it was a service call. That was put there for you so you can know what this is and then be able to better choose whether this was electrical work or this was an installation. And that's why that's there. Okay, because I've got another customer in your same boat. Okay? Now, that was the major money right down here. If you had, and you notice we have a $25 freight charge that we haven't accommodated for, so I can put $25 here in freight. Notice there's a balance yet, okay? Because I said 520. I said 550, and so I'm going to put my 25 right here, 25 like so, and now you see your balance went away. And then if you broke this out, you would have this go to freight charges, incoming freight. In our case, we're just going to put it to AV sales, AV materials. Okay. Now, this checkbox here, checking that checkbox, saves this information for Alona. I didn't get it right either. That didn't. At Lona.
No, you did get it right.
I got it right?
That's right.
That's bad. Okay. So these were saved. Now, you can also save your terms with that vendor too. So when you, all these are saved with Atlona.
So
Okay.
there's a 2% discount.
Okay. So you need to set up terms so you have a 2%, whatever that thing is. You need to set that up on the setup side. There's a setup screen for that where you can set the terms up.
Okay.
And you can have a 2% discount and it'll understand that language. Okay?
If you want to switch spots, let me know.
Yeah, this is cold over here.
Do you want this chair?
I
No.
was getting
No, fine.
too hot, so we had to.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Bring the
It's
temperature
just
down.
blowing on my head. That's all.
No, I'm right on the edge of that. I'm there's a line going here.
It's like a breeze in the room.
Yeah, I have to pull it back a little bit so I can not quite get the full brunt of it. Okay, so continuing with this, if there were a tax amount, you could put taxes in there as well. That's why you've got these fields. Okay, when you're finished with this data screen, you can save these for that vendor. The math is now worked out. We don't have any balance left over. There's our invoice number. There's our invoice date. So you can backdate this to the invoice date of the vendor if it's different than today. When you're finished with all this, you simply say post, like so, click, and the screen goes away. Okay? Now, the other type, and you'll notice there's a create export, and if you want to look at your export before you actually export it, this is a report that will show you what's yet to be sent to QuickBooks. Okay, so that just shows you've got $550 for Atlona and terms, and that's what this was about. Okay, so you can see a report. Incidentally, this is a new thing for me. There's also under reports, accounting system exports, there's a pending export report too. So you can see what you've got sitting under the dollars to accounting button here. When this is sitting there right now it's going to say no file found because there's no file found. Okay. But when there is a file here, you can come over here to reports, account support, export, and you can look at this report and see, oh, it's only one invoice, I won't worry about it. But if it's 10 or 15 invoices, okay, let's knock this out.
But I do have to get to them before Brian overwrites that.
Well, you're doing the dollars to accounting button. It's not like it's going to be overwritten by somebody else. You threw the ball and you're catching the ball.
Okay.
So it's not like it's going to be him doing that part of it.
The dollars is waiting.
Yeah, this is just sitting there, and if you miss a day or 2 or 5, it's not going to kill anything. You'll just at that point you'll say dollars to accounting, click, and then you go into QuickBooks and bring it in.
Okay.
So just make sure you try to do it all at once.
Yeah.
You bring it over.
And like you said, if you forget it, we have a backup file.
Daily.
Yeah, daily is probably a good thing.
Yeah.
I got people that literally wait 30 days. It's like I
Daily
can't.
person. I don't like anything hanging.
Yeah,
when it
right.
shouldn't be.
Yeah. Okay, now, so the other transaction type is going to be a miscellaneous invoice. Okay. So a miscellaneous invoice would be, our dear friend over here forgot to estimate a lift, and we need a scissor lift to put the stupid light pole up. I'm just pontificating here.
Yeah.
It happens. Crap happens. So, and we didn't generate it on a purchase order, so I can come over here to this guy.
So this would be something that there was
No
PO
purchase
for.
order on. Exactly. You get a raw invoice for a lift, which is the classic, right? That's
Yeah.
rental,
Yeah.
equipment rental, drill, core drill thing, all that crap.
Ditch witch.
Ditch switch, all the above. So this is where you go ahead and you go take the bill and you go put the project number there, not the purchase order, because we don't have a purchase order. You put the project number there. You put the invoice from the vendor, because that we know, like so. Okay. And we have we have the amount because we have the amount. So this isn't a question in this case, and we're going to say $500 for a ditch witch. And we can say check total. So this is where we can, we put a project number, we put the amount we're going to pay, and the invoice from the vendor. Okay? And then we say open project. And what this does is it first chooses our vendor. Who are we getting the bill from? So when you give me your vendor list, this will be your vendor list, and United Rentals or whoever that is will be in the list. Okay? And I'll just use Bay State for our purposes today. And then it takes us to a miscellaneous posting screen, and you can adjust this list up to 20. You keep a miscellaneous there, but you see I've got equipment rental sitting right there at the top, and I can say $500 for, and you can actually change this name and put, Bay State Ditch Witch or something, Ditch Witch, something like that. That thing, yes? A little comment, what's on the invoice? What's on the invoice, you could put it right there. Because this will show up as a comment in the job cost report. Okay? And then you hit post. Come over here to that guy. And then you come back to the same screen we just did. And again, it's going to be accounts payable. And then this is going to be material sales, or if you put a rental, equipment rental, if you want to add that to your GL list. Again, you could add more to that GL list. Or cost of goods. Again, this is your GL. I don't care. Once we set it up, it's your GL, how you want it to be hit. Fair enough? Okay. And then terms will be net 30 in this example here. We've got our invoice number. We've got our amount. And there's no balance left. So we just hit post again like so. Boom, and we're done. So the big reason for doing this, the whole reason for doing this in project, is so that job cost gets hit accurately with either bills from materials and the freight amount, which wouldn't normally get there, but since we're doing the project, the freight amount gets distributed to the job, and then miscellaneous invoices, such as the one we just did, get posted against the job.
Go to Home Depot and buy
Home
something.
Depot, Radio Shack.
And that's where I'll have that other system set up. So this way we can put information, and Michelle will get an email from Home Depot.
Yeah.
So I'll get on that. So this way Michelle gets the receipt emailed to her from Home Depot.
She's looking for a bill, or it has the bill.
Yeah, we're not having this
And
way.
they'll
All the
have
guys.
the job on it as a
Yep.
reference, so
Yep.
you'll know what job it's for.
Now, I understand this is a lot, but get the engine rolling. Everybody do the little parts, and then spread it out. Get the text due and receive PO in the back, because they can do it in 5 minutes. You spread the work out, and then all of a sudden you have an engine running. And that's what you're trying to get to. Okay, so let's do dollars to accounting now. So if we want to run a report to see what's pending, we click over there, and then we see we've got 2 transactions sitting there. We've got our Atlona, and then we have our Bay State electrical thing that we had brought in. And we come over here to this guy. Now, I'm going to pause the tape and change the location of this file. So stand by, pause tape. Okay. Now we're going to go to Task, QuickBooks, Export, Start, continue to export, yes. And you see it just created that file, the AP file, in the QuickBooks data folder. Okay? So now we just bring up QuickBooks, like so, and home page, File, Utilities, Import, IIF, and it's remembering the former one. We're going to pick it up at the new location. The new location is going to be QuickBooks Data, and there it's sitting there right there. So our new location is just simply C: QuickBooks data. And you're going to have your two files here. You're going to have your import.iif and your ap.voucher file, like so. And we just simply say open, and there you go. And now your data is inside QuickBooks. So
if I do vendor
exactly
bills, I'm going to see those.
Exactly right.
With
yeah, vendor bills, be it
just
pay bills,
yeah.
right over here. Exactly right. If we look for basic, we'll sort by vendor, right? Is there a sort? Show all bills. I guess not. Okay. You should find a base date in here. I can't believe you can't. Oh, sort by vendor. Thank you. Okay, good. Okay, so we should be able to find a base date, and there's base date, like that. Okay, and then we should be able to find an Altona, which is right above it. There you go.
So once I push this into QuickBooks, then everything is
your world is your world. Yeah.
And what about things that aren't necessarily related to a job anyway, like car payments and
You want it
that's all
strictly in QuickBooks. Absolutely correct.
Okay. I just didn't know.
Yep.
Unless we rent a car for a job.
Got it.
Right.
That's like renting a tool for a job.
Right. Renting a tool.
Yeah.
So I'm going to double click on this guy, and just simply. Oh, you can't. I can't
Not
enter
from
the bill.
here.
Yeah, from here. So close this screen. We have to go to
I mean, it doesn't really.
Vendor
for us,
Center.
it doesn't matter, but.
Vendor
expensing
Center,
out
there we
travel
go.
On the job,
Yeah.
we would want to maybe do that on certain projects. You know, I'm just.
Yeah, no, that's what we've done before anyway. So you've got a spreadsheet.
So there's this guy.
We did, our expenses and stuff we bought, we did
Yes.
a spreadsheet.
And I'm just going to hit delete, Control D here, and delete this guy. Yeah. You're going to send a check, send it to me, okay?
I'll put my name in
check.
it. First, thank you.
What would be the best, Pete, is you get a check in the mail from yourself.
Yeah.
And there's base date right behind it, so I'm going to I'm going to delete that guy as well. So there you go. So now you're back to your normal bills.
Thank you.
Okay, not a problem. But you see how nice it works out very fast. It just works. And let's just go down to base date and get rid of base date as a vendor, because you won't necessarily need them as a vendor. I mean, if it comes in, great, but probably not. So BAY, base date, media, right there.
Nope.
No, that's your real one.
down.
That's the real one.
That's one there. And Control D, and that'll delete that as a vendor. Yeah, because you don't have a transaction for them. Okay, so I'll get rid of that. So there you go. QuickBooks is QuickBooks. I mean, after that, it just is done.
Basically, it's just getting used to
Yeah,
this software.
yeah.
You know the QuickBooks, so it's not that big of a deal.
All right, so I'm going to stop this tape. This tape is going to be